Yeah, I'll start with my first presentation, which is going to be all about AI native engineering leadership. It's something that we are all thinking about. What does AI native actually means? So yeah, let's get straight into what am I going to be talking about today. Important trends and also how to become a great engineering leader in 2026 and beyond. As I mentioned, also a little bit quickly about me. 30 plus years of experience, both as engineer and also engineering leader. I grew from engineer to senior software engineer to team lead to engineering manager, head of engineering, VP of engineering, and then CTO. I currently work as a fractional CTO and advisor, mostly with smaller to mid-size companies. And most people know me from writing the engineering leadership newsletter. Overall, my goal is to help as many people as possible to become great engineering leaders. So yeah, let me ask all of you, what does it mean to be AI native? What is the definition about being AI native? Do we have if I would ask any one of you today here, there would probably be very much different definitions of what AI native actually means, right? Some may say that is just a buzzword, that is just a marketing term for selling stuff. Maybe some would say that the greatest thing since sliced bread. By the way, these are the answers from the Augment Code recent report that they did, and they asked 217 engineering leaders about what does AI native actually means. And yeah, we can see that nobody really knows and understands what AI native means. But yeah, I think for the sake of this presentation, it's really important to define what does it actually mean for me and for the people I've been talking to. As part of my newsletter, I talk with many engineers and also engineering leaders across the industry, and I get the vibe of what they're thinking about, what kind of their opinions are, and I share them inside the newsletter articles. So what does it actually mean to be AI native? Sorry for a bit more text here. There's a bit more text than usual in a usual slide, but being AI native goes beyond simply just AI tools. It means like continuously identifying and eliminating bottlenecks across the entire software engineering lifecycle. So it's not just about AI tools, about AI. It means that we need to question everything, how the way we are planning, the way we are doing strategy, the way we are prioritizing features, the way we are doing bugs, the way we are resolving bugs, the way we are doing code generation. Obviously, AI-assisted engineering is the best way to build software these days. The way we are doing code reviews, especially really prominent these days, are AI code reviews are more and more common, and human code reviews are becoming more and more bottleneck these days. None of it should be sacred. Everything should be continuously improved. And you always think about how to use AI in order to improve in all of these areas. So that's what AI native means to me. And that's also been a definition that together with Thibaut Sotio, he's a head of Codex at OpenAI, we wrote an article on how to build AI native teams. That is going to be shared also in one of the resources at the end of the presentation as well. So you can also read that article as well. Now that we know what AI native means, let me ask the second question, which is what has actually changed in engineering leadership from 1 to 2 years ago? So, the first answer to this question might be everything has changed. Everything is different. Totally different world. Engineering is becoming something totally different than it was like 1 to 2 years ago. But let me give a bit of a controversial answer to this question, which is there hasn't actually been a lot of changes. The goal of engineering leaders have always been to do what's best for the team, their people, organization, and the overall business. And this hasn't changed. This is still the same. Everything around what we are doing has changed. The tools, the processes, the way we are building stuff, the way we are doing, obviously, stakeholder communication is a big topic these days for all the engineering leaders. The tools are totally different than they were 1 to 2 years ago, but still the goal of engineering leaders is the same. How can we provide as much value to our team, to the people, to the organization, and also to the business. And that is the mindset that it's really important to keep in mind when we go to next slides as well, which is, let's keep this in mind. But let's go to the next really important thing is that a lot of the engineering is actually becoming engineering leadership. What I mean by that is, what used to be really cool about engineers is you can get in the zone and you can write code for 8 hours and you're going to feel very productive. These days, it's more about how we can navigate AI and AI tools to do what we need. And a lot of the skills that we need in order to do AI-assisted engineering well is connected with being a great tech lead or being a great manager as well. You need to be good at delegating. You need to be good at dissecting bigger projects into smaller pieces. You need to be good at giving feedback. You need to be also patient. You need to also have perseverance, because if you're not patient with AI, you're going to be frustrated, and then you're going to go straight into changing code yourself. And a lot of times, that may not be the best decision going forward. Every engineer is becoming basically a tech lead. We can see more and more ownership of engineers across different projects, let's say mostly in startups, mid-sized companies. Engineers are owning end-to-end solutions from start to finish, from idea all the way to delivering the project. So we see basically engineering leadership is becoming actual, what engineers are doing on a daily basis. Let's go to the next one, which is a lot of engineering managers are sought after to become ICs again. We can see, for example, like in Amazon was the first starter of this trend. They were increasing the ratio between individual contributors to managers. And then a lot of companies like Meta and a lot of other companies started to do similarly. But what I want to mention here is that the skills that you learn as an engineering manager are the same skills that you need in order to do AI-assisted engineering well. As I mentioned before, you need to be good at knowing what to delegate, how to delegate. You need to be good at giving clear explanations without assumptions. You should not be doing any assumptions with giving prompts to AI. Continuously refine and improve based on output, have patience and perseverance. That's something that a lot of engineers don't have, like the patience, the perseverance. What happens with a lot of engineers is they either get frustrated or they feel like I can do it better myself instead of AI. Why should I give it to AI? Because I'm an expert in Python, I'm an expert in Flask, I'm an expert in C#, let me just do it myself. That is the mentality. But no, managers are going to be looking to delegate first, then look to solve it themselves. So that's also the reason why a lot of engineering managers are basically becoming extremely popular for engineering managers to become ICs again, and that is the reason, because they have good business skills, product skills, they understand the ecosystem behind what is important, they can do prioritization of features themselves, so they can really build stuff end-to-end themselves. That is why a lot of engineering managers are, and also they are really great ICs with doing AI-assisted engineering. And that's also, one of the response that I have for all the engineering managers here who are engineering managers. If a company decides to increase the ratio from individual contributors to managers, to have less managers at a company, don't look at it as a demotion. As we mentioned here, you can see the X post here. But, look at it always from the perspective as what's going to be best for the team, what's going to be best for the organization, what's going to be best for the business, for everyone that is part of the software development process. Always look at it that way. As I mentioned in one of the previous slides, we as engineering leaders, we need to do what's best for the team, what's best for our people, what's best for the organization, and so on. So don't feel like it's a demotion. It's not a demotion. There are two different paths. You're actually an engineering leader as an IC, as I mentioned. You have a lot more a lot more power, a lot more responsibility, a lot more ownership. You just don't have human reports directly, but you can do a lot of cool stuff as an IC. So if that happens inside a company, there's nothing wrong with that. Always have this in mind. Now let's talk about how our engineering leadership roles changing. So 2 years ago, we had like a similar amount of tech lead, staff engineer roles to team lead, engineering manager roles. And then also a bit less architect roles because the tech lead or staff engineer were also, in a lot of companies, the tech lead or staff engineer was also taking the responsibilities of an architect. And then team lead, engineering manager was also, how do I say, a lot of them in many companies. And then director and above, director, VP of engineering, CTOs, a bit less as well, because normally like 2 to 3 engineering managers were reporting to a director. But what we have right now is we have a lot more tech leads and also staff engineers. A lot of the roles that are, let's say, engineering managers, architects, and staff engineers, those 3 roles are getting closer and closer together. That is what I'm hearing from talking with many different companies, both in the United States and also in Europe as well. So as I mentioned before, a lot of the engineering roles are becoming tech lead roles, and so on. So we will see a lot less, in my opinion, a lot less engineering manager and also a lot less pure architect roles, but a lot more. It's going to also merge more towards software engineer being expected to have the skills and knowledge of a great tech lead. That is what I see happening, and that is the trend that I believe. The directors, VP of engineering and above, the role is going to stay quite similar, but a lot more focus on AI strategy. That is very important. Yeah, I mentioned this already. Engineering roles are getting closer and closer together. The EMs, staff engineers, architects, we can see this more and more common, especially in terms of like managers taking more of the staff engineer responsibilities. And also we see a big trend in product and engineering getting closer and closer together. As I mentioned, a lot of engineers are asked to take end-to-end ownership from start to finish of a certain feature. But what is interesting here is that the name product engineer was very popular, let's say 6 months ago or maybe 1 year ago. But today we hardly hear about this word. I mean, if you think about it, like, do we talk about product engineers? We do, but not as much as like 6 months or 1 year ago. And the reason is that the expectations of software engineers is becoming more and more connected with being product engineers. So it's all merging to the role software engineer, the tech lead responsibilities, and also product engineer responsibilities is merging all together to software engineer and engineering roles. That is what I'm seeing. So becoming more product and business minded is very crucial. It's going to be more and more important. And yeah, that's how I see the trends moving at this time. Yeah, a little bit about, I mentioned a bit about why that is the case. We've seen layoffs within multiple companies. And you know, when there are fewer people in the company, more is expected from existing people. And yeah, Amazon's initiative that in increasing individual contributors to managers ratio was the starter. And then also obviously the tools for development are getting better and better. And the titles are just going to get blurred more and more as time goes on. So being good at many things is not a nice to have anymore. It's a must have. That is what I feel. And also one important thing I want to mention is that what I'm hearing from many different companies, they look for either really great generalists, like people that can take end-to-end ownership and doing so many different things across the full life cycle of software development life cycle, or they look at someone who is really good at a specific rare technology. That may be like a certain framework, that may be in certain technology, that may be in certain programming language. Like for example, like if they are doing something with audio, if they are doing something with video, they might look for an expert who is really good at that certain parts. So that is still gonna be very needed. Someone that really has an amazing expertise on certain area. But if you look at the ratio, it's going to be less people that are needed, like really experts, and a lot more that are generalists and are good in many different areas. But I believe if you have that rare knowledge of a specific technology, of specific framework, that you really understand it in and out a lot better than everyone else, you're going to have automatically advantage, because people want to make things performant, people want to make things improve things, and want to set good how do I say, they want to set good templates in order to, let's say, everyone else, every other engineer, and also AI to be able to replicate all of the great practices, all of the great patterns. But you only can have that example if you really understand the framework or you understand the technology. That's really good. So setting up system design, architecture, and really good, standards on what great looks like, that is also going to be important. So yeah, what to do to become a great AI native engineering leader? Those are the two areas that I recommend everyone to focus on. And yeah, it's not only AI tools. There's a lot more other things. Of course, AI is really, really, really important, and it's really important to be better at any AI tools. But yeah, human-related skills, leadership, teamwork, good communication. Also, being a great person to work with, empathy and emotional intelligence. Those are really key these days. And also being good at solving problems in general, right? Any problem that comes to you, you're being pragmatic, you're being resourceful, you know how to utilize different tools, you have a good business understanding, you're having a deep understanding of a relevant topic as well. So those I think are the core skills for everyone to focus on. And this is also like a good equation, which is like with good human-related skills and being good at solving problems, basically you can learn everything that you need, or you can also get everything that you need in order to solve a certain problem and provide an impact. So those two areas are really, really crucial. Again, we return back to this one. The goal of engineering leaders have always been to do what's the best for the team, their people, organization, and the overall business. That is our key. Always keep this in mind. Titles will change over the years, but what you can do, that you can't control the titles, you can't focus on adjusting the titles over the industry. It's going to be what it's going to be, but you can focus on making sure that you provide an impact. That should be your number one goal. And to help you with this, I prepared a bunch of different resources that are going to be helpful for you to grow in all of these areas, as I talked about, in human-related skills and also being good at problem solving. There's also a lot of different articles about how to use AI as an engineering leader. I think there's more than 40 engineering leaders are sharing how they're using AI on a daily basis. So there's a bunch of interesting articles there. The articles are part of the engineering leadership newsletter that I write. And if you go and click this, if you go and scan this code, you will also see that some of the articles are paid articles. But what you can do is you can just send me an email and that you have attended this talk, and I will grant you a 1-month complimentary subscription. And you will be able to read all of the articles on this topic. At the same time, I'm also writing a book. It's called The Multiprior Mindset, which is exactly focusing on this direction. And I'm also giving you an early access to that book, and also the 1-month subscription to O'Reilly platform. So we can read all of the other books like AI engineering and also designing data-intensive applications and things and books like that. So you will find all of that in the resources here if you scan this QR code. Thanks for listening, and let's welcome Winay next.